The Dakota Proclamation by Meredith Quinn, Musa. Quinn's concept: how to terminate Indian reservations by state, fiscal year of 1960, with data from historical statistics, colonial times to 1967, Series J10, Bureau of Census, Advance Reports, General Population Characteristics, University of Chicago, Professor Saltax, Department of Interior, Land Management, Public Land Statistics, Table 284-85. Department of Interior, Indian Affairs Annual Report, and unpublished data. Department of Interior, Indian Affairs Statistics concerning Indian education. Department of Interior, Indian Affairs, Indian population and land. Then what follows is a chart showing total Indian population of 523,591, Indian land acreage of 52,495,353,000. Shows the degree of Indian blood percent, vacant land in acres, 437,879,000. Students in federal school, 39,785. And then the percentage of Indian children to the population for Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Florida, Idaho, Kansas, Minnesota, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Oregon, South Dakota, Utah, Washington, Wyoming, and other. Then he says, let's look at another idea. The highest mortality rates today are in the states that have 90% Indian blood. Let's put them in order and add one more thing. Let's check to see how much vacant land is in the state. Remember, this is also Indian land, but the records of who and what Indian tribes were here is in records not open for public viewing. So he has a chart of the state, the percent of Indian blood, and the vacant land in million acres. Alaska, 85.4% Indian blood, 270,171,000 acres of vacant land. Arizona, 98.4% the Indian blood, 13,136,000 acres of vacant land. California, 98.4% the Indian blood, 15,764,000 acres of vacant land. Nevada, 99.1% of Indian blood, 45,977,000 acres of vacant land. New Mexico, 99.1, and 13,300,000 acres of vacant land. Oregon, 93.7, 825,758 acres of vacant land. Washington, 93.7% of Indian blood, vacant land in million acres, none. These are all trouble areas for the Indian. You will find sellout Indians, senators and attorneys, mixed up in Indian business in the area. All these areas have deaths in which police officers committed the act. Let's turn back to the page Quinn's concept and show you a formula that can be worked out. And you will be on top of the Indian Termination, maybe even an Indian authority. Please note that at the top of the page, you have all the needed references to put together the same type of page. Next, put together mortality rates out of U.S. vital statistics by year, by state, and reservation if possible. Now you're ready to put a puzzle together. Take the year and area that has the highest infant mortality rate. It changes from year to year. Allow from 3 to 5 years. Then compare student enrollment in these areas. It will increase in enrollment, but the percentage of full-bloods will decrease. Next, check the population of the Indian for these years, and it will decrease. And Indian land shrinkage will begin. Remember, reservations that are named allotted disappear faster than reservations which are not allotted, because this requires termination. My birthplace is Sisseton, South Dakota, which has the finest farmland in the country. We have topsoil 25 feet thick. It rains 1 to 2 times a week, so anything grows. Yet, this reservation is the poorest in the country. The annual wage earning incomes per year is $11 per family. This is no mistake. Not even $1 a month comes from this town built for the Indian. Yet, if the Indian had the same rights as the white man there, it would be impossible for the Sioux of Sisseton, South Dakota, not to be the richest in the nation. What could cause this situation if this is Indian land? What is being done that makes the white man rich and the Indian the poorest? Let's take a look. At present, the Indian can only lease his land. Let's take a look at the lease that the government controls over Indian land. The following page is a copy of the exact lease presented to the Indian to sign, which makes him the poorest in America. The page of the lease has 6 categories of Indians that could have Indian land. It takes in all types to make sure that the government controls all the area. Let me explain what they mean. 1. This is every Indian in the country, also called guardianship, alienation, and severalty. 2. Orphaned Indians are in a lower class than non-compos mentis. 3 and 4 explains itself. 5. Indians in prisons, jails, armed forces, cities, and in towns off the reservations. 6. If one Indian disagrees, the government does not need their signature, even if 1,000 Indians own the land. Notice of intent to advertise for lease certain tracts of Indian trust lands on the Sisseton Reservation. To Indian landowners and other interested parties, under current leasing regulations, 25 CFR 131.2 and 131.7 and other parts, the superintendent is authorized, in certain instances, to advertise for lease individually owned trust lands to the highest satisfactory bidder and grant a lease thereon. This constitutes notice of intent to advertise Indian trust lands on the Sisseton Indian Reservation where leases begin on the first day of October 1971, and which fall within the following categories. 1. Where the owner is non compos mentis or not of sound mind. 2. In the case of orphaned minors. 3. On behalf of the undetermined heirs of an estate. 4. Where Indians have given the superintendent written authority to execute leases on their behalf. 5. In those cases where the whereabouts of the Indian owner is unknown. And 6. Where the heirs or devisees to the individually owned land have not been able to agree upon a lease during the 3-month period immediately following the date on which a lease may be entered into. A lease agreement may be entered into 12 months prior to the beginning date of the lease. For the purpose of clarification, the 90-day period mentioned in item 6 above will end March 15th, 1971. Adult Indian owners who are sole owners of tracts of land are invited to make a request to include their lands in the proposed advertisement if they wish to explore the rental market. The highest bid in these cases will be advertised, subject to the owner's acceptance. This notice affects only the leases beginning on October 1st, 1971, and may be disregarded if you have no leases scheduled to begin October 1st, 1971. Dated December 15th, 1970, Sisseton Agency, Sisseton, South Dakota, signed by the superintendent. So the white man has written laws and covered them with lies. They were written to make him look godly and the Indian ungodly. He has taken our lands wrongly and with a lie, with a complete falsehood. True, we do not believe in land ownership, but the white man has twisted it in such a way as to make it impossible to ever own land legally or to be a citizen of our own lands. But I challenge him and his God. I will even sit before him and wait to see who his God will strike dead because he took the Black Hills, the land that is considered to be the center of Dakota. For this I shall never rest, nor find a place in my heart to forgive him till the day comes when Dakota and friends can once more sit down in peace, harmony, and cook, and eat the wealth of our homes and smoke the pipe of peace. I, Dakota, a nation, a people, a way of life, a frame of mind, known by your secret historians as Dakota, first emperor of this hemisphere, shall tear our homeland from your hands. I'm coming back for our Black Hills. We must have our secret hills, our Black Hills. We are going on a long journey. And before we can leave, our feet must be on sacred ground. The time has come to command the medicine men to light the fires for the ritual of the sacred arrow, so that all Dakota shall be in order, so that all Indian nations will be in order. True that there are many of you, but one has joined Dakota that will make another victory again in our favor. Your book said that the Creator parted the waters. Mine says that Mother Earth shall part me from you.